It's my job to love my friend who receives love via quality time, to give them my time. Is it a sacrifice for me because I live at such a fast-paced life where I'm multitasking all the time? Yes, it is. Hey girl, so glad you tuned in. My name's Bethany and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode number 45. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for work or school, or maybe you're in the coffee drive-thru today, wherever life finds you, I hope that you remember that there are people that are for you, cheering you on to succeed. Today, I hope that I get to be one of those people, standing like a cheerleader on the sideline of your life, reminding you and helping you to make up your mind all day long about the small things that add up to huge things later on. Girl, over the past month or so, we started a new series on the 5 love languages, and we titled it The Making of Love. This episode is all about the love language quality time. So be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening or consuming this content. Now let's get to it. Okay, makeup. You guys, I tried this new makeup primer by First Aid Beauty, or Fab. Sometimes they go by Fab. And you guys, it is amazing. It has a really long name for some reason. They decided to call it the Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. How many words is that? A lot of words. But I'm going to tell you what, I took this bad boy camping because it's just a sample that I got. And I decided to use it as my face moisturizer instead of bringing my whole face kit thing with all the different kinds of moisturizer. And this stuff worked amazing. I've tried a couple of different products by First Aid Beauty, and I have pretty much liked all of them. So if you are looking for a new skincare system, I would definitely recommend First Aid Beauty. Most of their stuff goes on so smooth and it makes my skin feel great. This one has a little bit of a tint in it, so it was kind of nice for camping because I just put it on and then just put some powder on over the top and it felt really fresh. If you want to try any of their products, you can purchase First Aid Beauty on Amazon, on their website, at Ulta, and at Sephora. So it's at plenty of places. Go give it a try. Okay, let's talk love languages. If you haven't gotten to listen to the first couple episodes, I would definitely recommend going back and listening to those because we are going kind of in a progression. I talked in both of those episodes about how it's super important to remember that the primary language of love is actually self-sacrifice. There's really no way to experience lasting love between yourself and a partner or even yourself and a friend without an element of self-sacrifice. Go with me here real quick. If you think about any scenario that you and another person both get your way in whatever the scenario is, most of the time you'll have to go 2 separate ways. Like, even just think about the smallest thing, like you and your friend going to get food. You both want to go get food at different places. What happens if you only do what you want to do in that moment? Both of you only do what you want to do. One of you ends up going to Macca's and one of you ends up going to Taco Bell. Nobody knows what Macca's is. One of you ends up going to McDonald's and one of you ends up going to Taco Bell. Sure, there will be moments that you agree, but in the moments that you don't agree, if you only live by getting your own way, it's just not going to work out. It can be small things like what food you want to get that night to much bigger things like how you're going to spend your money, ideals around where your kids end up going to school, or even ideals around intimacy. Both partners don't usually end up always getting their way. It's super great when both partners can be in agreement most of the time, but the thing is you're not married to yourself. And you probably don't want to be. No one wants to be married to an exact replica of yourself. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with the exact same type of person. And if you do, that's another issue. That's called narcissism. Continuing on this thought, when we think about marriage, dating, engagement, friendships, any kind of relationship, your commitment to that relationship has to be on the forefront during times of disagreement. So when you're in the middle of the disagreement, what I'm saying is you have to remember your commitment to that relationship. In those moments when there's a disagreement happening, whether the disagreement is about food or something much more important, if both partners can have an attitude of self-sacrifice, usually a decision will be made much easier, and the partners will end up loving each other much more. Again, I'm not saying to sacrifice to no end. If your partner isn't actually reciprocating the same attitude, then you're just going to end up getting trampled and walked all over. And when that happens, resentment starts to grow in your heart. And let me tell you what, resentment is the ugliest, grossest thing, and it's the hardest to get out of your heart. Resentment has to be pulled out like a weed from your heart, because once it gets infected inside of your heart, it spreads to every single relationship you have, not just the one that caused the resentment. Sorry, that was just a quick little mini sermon right in the middle of all of this. Back to what we're actually talking about. So ideally, the person that you're in a relationship with, whether it's a spouse or a friend or whoever it might be, will also share that attitude of self-sacrifice as well. Because that's where your relationship is actually going to grow. That's where the freedom happens. That's where you can really trust the other person to have your best interests in mind, so that when a moment comes when you need to have their best interests in mind, it's much easier. It's almost like a dance. You're always pointing to the other person, and that person's always pointing back at you. And it's this never-ending dance of giving. And the giving makes you want to give more, because as you receive, it makes you want to give back. I know that in every episode, I've been harping on this point, and I think it's because we need to have the right attitude when we talk about love languages. Because of how our society is, we need to be reminded every day that life isn't actually about us. It's about others, and that is how freedom and love can grow. So, talking about quality time today as our highlighted love language for this episode, just pause for a moment and begin to think, who in your life wants one-on-one time with you as something that they're constantly looking for and asking for? Who are the people in your life that would rather go out on a one-on-one coffee date with you than be in a big crowd going and doing something fun? Maybe they've even expressed to you that they don't feel that they get enough of your time. Have you ever had someone say something like that to you? Me, being someone whose love language isn't primarily quality time, it's probably lower on my list. These kind of people actually puzzle me. Personally, a lot of the time that I feel like spending one-on-one time with someone for like even an hour feels slightly wasteful of my time. And I know that feels really harsh. It kind of feels rude and heartless, but I have to be especially careful with these people that are in my life, because my definition of time together is not the same as their definition of time together. My definition of spending time together usually includes like running around, doing errands, and they're in the passenger seat and we're just talking. Maybe we stop and get a coffee on our way, but we're doing things at the same time. My definition usually means multitasking, like we're doing a project or getting something done, but at the same time, we're spending time together and I'm hearing about their life and what's going on, and that's just how I operate. To me, it feels like I'm spending quality one-on-one time with them, but to them, it might feel like I'm only giving them part of my attention, and therefore, it's not a quality amount of time spent together. I said this kind of before, but have you ever had a friend come to you and say that you're not giving their friendship enough time, energy, or value? Like they're mad at you because you are not treating their friendship how they need the friendship to be treated? Or maybe you are that person. Maybe you're the one that has sent the text message that's like, you're not giving my friendship enough time or energy, or we haven't seen each other in weeks and this is not okay with me. So let's pause and realize that people actually communicate love different. And it might be different than how you communicate. This is one of the biggest lessons about the 5 love languages. It's my job As someone who receives love best via words, and we'll get to that one later, it's my job to love my friend who receives love via quality time, to give them my time. Is it a sacrifice for me because I live at such a fast-paced life where I'm multitasking all the time? Yes, it is. But this is where we have to realize, like I said before, the relationship matters more than this other stuff. I actually love my friend more than I love my fast-paced life, more than I love multitasking, more than I love accomplishing things and getting things done. And I have to put that in perspective sometimes. It's my job being in relationship with my friend or my husband or my mom or anybody really. It's my job being in relationship with these people to realize when their love tank is actually running low. And then it's time for my self-sacrifice to kick in because I love them. In the same breath, though, and I know this is what you're thinking, in the same breath, I also need that from my friend. And it's actually my friend who does have a quality time love language to realize that that's not my first gut reaction in showing love. That's not my first instinct on how to fill their love tank. My first instinct is actually to send them a nice worded text message encouraging them that they can do it and that they've got this. I'm their biggest cheerleader. My first instinct is to give them a pat on the back and say, hey girl, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you can do this, and I love you. Is to say it because that's my love language. I don't know if you've thought about this, but it's almost like we're speaking two different languages. But if I actually deeply care about the person, I'm actually going to learn their language. I've actually watched this over time with my sister and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law's from Brazil, and he speaks Portuguese. And my sister speaks English because she's from the US. And when they got married, even though they lived in the US, I could see her love for him because she decided to pick up Portuguese. Even though he could speak English, she decided to learn his language. And that's what we do, is it not? When we're in relationship with one another, in order to love them, we need to speak their language. And that's why this is so important. So quickly, the do's and don'ts of a quality time love language person. Here are some things to do in your relationship with them. 1, put away your phone when you're with them. I know it's hard. I know there's tons of other people that are trying to get your attention, and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, whatever, that want your attention. But girl, put away your phone when you're with that person. They are most likely present fully with you, so be fully present with them. Honor their time, because remember, that's what it's about for them. Number 2, listen engagingly and intently to what they're saying. Don't half listen. Respond with more questions about what they're talking about so that they're aware that they have your full attention. Number 3, spend time in a meaningful way with them. Put some thought into it. Go to a special coffee shop or place that has some deep meaning for that person so they know that you're being intentional about your time with them. Show them that the time you're spending is dedicated to only them. And number 4, engage in deeper conversations. Most of the time, these kind of people don't like the small talk. So get to the real stuff because they want to be real with you. All right, are you ready for some don'ts? These are things to not do in a relationship with somebody who has a quality time love language. Number 1, do not be distracted or not present with them. I kind of already said this. Nothing is a bigger turnoff to them. And at that point, you're no longer having quality time with them if you're not being present. Number 2, don't postpone your date with them and do not complain while you're on the date with them. To them, that says that you don't actually care about them as a person. All they want to do is be with you. So show them that you want to be with them right back. Number 3, and this is a big one for me because this is how I tend to feel sometimes because I don't have a quality time love language. Number 3 is don't assume that these people are being needy. I think quality time love languages feel like this all the time. Remember that this is their love language. And you can't fault them for wanting to spend time with you because they care about you. Remember that when their love tank is full, they will be able to love you on a much deeper level. So fill their love tank and don't shame them for needing to spend one-on-one time with you. Jesus himself actually showed us this quality time love language because he would go off in the mornings and spend one-on-one time with the Father. The Bible says he would go off and spend quality intentional time with the Father while he prayed. I think that the quality time love language people that surround us are actually showing us a piece of God when they show us that part of themselves. They're teaching us how to intentionally take time for God and for one another. Let's learn from their example and let's learn from Jesus's example, how important that actually is. Because after all, he is actually the perfect example of what self-sacrificing love really looks like. So girl, thank you so much for joining me today on another episode of Make Up Your Mind. As always, please be sure to subscribe wherever you're consuming this content. It's always such a pleasure for you to get to join me and listen. And if you love what you're listening to, be sure to share it. There's women all over the world who are needing encouragement, and I know that there are women in your life that are also needing encouragement. So share these episodes with them. Girl, remember that you are seen and you are valued and you are loved. And until I see you again next time, I'll catch you on the socials.